Soon we'll be entering the cereal aisle at Maple Leaf Gardens Loblaws. The cereal aisle is unsurprisingly located between the other aisles, meat, dairy, and produce sections. This is a standard layout among grocery stores. Glad you found the cereal aisle. If you're hungry, it might be because of the orange floors. Orange makes you hungry. If you're feeling calm and relaxed, it might be because of the background music you heard on your way here. It's adjusted to be just right, but adjusted to not sound like it was adjusted. We're here today at Maple Leaf Gardens Loblaws rather than a family-owned independent store because
It was open on Family Day. This Loblaws was open on Family Day to attract people who don't normally shop here, but their stores were closed that day. Although this Loblaws was open, its hours were limited. This may be because Loblaws didn't want to pay the workers time and a half wages for the whole family day.
today we'll be exploring marketing traps, the concept of choice, and why we should be concerned by the prevalence of soy and corn in cereals. Let's go. The first marketing trap is slotting fees, which are paid by the cereal companies to Loblaws to place their products on the eye-level shelves. Our eyes are trained to go from left to right. Because of this, the most valuable products are placed on the right-hand sides of the aisles. On the right sides were the expensive adult products, while the left side generally had the cheaper cereals. This placement is a result of our eyes stopping on the right side of the shelves. When our eyes stop here, we're more likely to buy these cereals.
Even though we are in the cereal aisle, knives, spatulas, and toys are being sold here. This is called boutiquing technique, which involves placing more profitable items next to the staple items. Most often, consumers don't look at the items that are below 40 centimeters above the floor level. All of the family-sized and jumbo-sized cereal boxes are placed on the bottom shelf. They are placed here because children and toddlers can usually reach the cereals on the bottom shelf the most easily. If a family has children, they may be more likely to purchase the family and jumbo-sized boxes. All of these family and jumbo-sized boxes were targeted for children and made evident by the cartoons on the boxes. Another reason for the jumbo boxes being next to the floor may be because families who are buying in bulk will take the time to look for a deal, while those buying for themselves will most likely buy the first thing they see. Here we see a combination of modern characters and characters that have been on boxes for ages. This is proof that companies are willing to pay the large sums of money for advertising rights for these new characters just for the amount of attention it will attract for their cereal, compared to their own old characters.
Alphabets was the only cereal box to include characters who were people of color. All of the other characters were animals who were voiced by white people, such as Dory from Finding Dory, or were white people like Elsa and Anna from Frozen. It's problematic that there were so few cereal boxes with people of color on them, or cartoons voiced by people of color, because it invalidates their identity as a person of color and sends the message that they are not able to be idols. Orange is the most popular color for cereal boxes. Red is also a color that makes you hungry, explaining why it's so often on cereal boxes. We could assume that blue is used on many cereal boxes because it's a contrasting color to orange. The cereals we were less familiar with were more likely to have white, brown, and purple packaging. Perhaps this is to appear different and to therefore stand out. Our eyes are drawn to the red sale tags with all capital, bold, yellow writing that literally stands out from the shelves. The sales tags that say multi encourage us to buy more than one. Some of the sales tags said special, even though the price was the exact same. In the picture on the right, the sales tags say limit 8, encouraging us to think that we really need 8 boxes of Lucky Charms.
Shoppers can choose from so many different boxes. Oh wait, just kidding. There are only 3, maybe 4 companies that own the vast majority of varieties of cereals on the shelves, as you can see from this chart. Seeing so many cereal boxes makes shoppers think that they have a lot of choice, but in reality, they don't. Before going to the cereal aisle, we knew that most of the cereals were owned by a handful of companies, but we were unaware that this limited choice would also apply to the flavors of cereals. We had the naive perception that there would be at least a dozen different flavors for shoppers to choose from. After collecting and organizing the data of the entire aisle, regarding the number of flavors in that aisle, we found that there were only 7 flavors, of cereal, and the 8th flavor was a combination of the previous 7. such as fruits and nuts or maple cinnamon. Here we have the most expensive cereal and the cheapest cereal. On the left, the most expensive cereal is individually packaged for to-go snacks or maybe kids who eat in smaller portions. Because of this extra packaging, it costs $2.57 per 100 grams. On the right, we have Shreddies, the cheapest cereal. Right now, it costs 30 cents for an entire box because of its lack of this color, lack of flavor, and lack of advertising.
Puffed Wheats was the only cereal we could find that contained no soy or corn products. The more highly processed a product, the more likely it is to contain soy or corn. 60 to 70% of products in grocery stores contain GMOs. This is largely because so many of them contain corn and or soy. In North America, foods that contain GMOs are not labeled as such, even though 90% of Canadians feel that the labeling of GMOs should be mandatory, although this is not the case in many European and Asian countries, which do mandatory labeling.
After we walked out of Loblaws, here were some of the thoughts that we collected. Our original assumptions were incorrect. Instead of the vast majority of varieties and flavors that we were able to choose from, there was only a few, as seen in the previous graphs. And also, everything is a science. You think the workers at Loblaws just place the boxes randomly on the shelf, but no. The spaces between the boxes, the level of the boxes, the color of the boxes, everything has been studied and placed there for maximum profit for the store. Also, a lack of variety of companies. We were shown that there were only around 4 companies that owned all the cereal, which means everything comes from the same source. Lastly, we learned that when buying foods, especially cereal, always look at the label, even for the most common of foods, because we need to know what we put into our bodies.
Here you can see 2 ministers for the Canadian government. We urge you to contact them to let them know your concerns about GMO and how it should be labeled on Canadian products.
Hopefully this presentation has given you more insight on how to shop and what cereals to buy. Thank you.